Things like bar nuts that never leave the side cover. These just screw on there. You ever get out in the back 40, you lose a bar nut, you're cooked, you know? Those never leak. You said something about, one of our competitors had a pretty cool gas cap, but sometimes it opens up on the leg and it's threaded, kind of funky. So we kind of borrowed some help from them. We came with a push torque design cap that will not open up on your leg, if you will. You talked about things like, our guys are having issues adjusting carburetors. Can you do something? So we took all the carburetor adjustment out of them. We'll talk more about that. It adjusts for you automatically. There is, though, as you were transitioning, if you're using probably some Steel MS261s, it'll tell you if that's what you use in a Husky or a 362, that's what you use in a Husky or an Echo, you get the drill. The flash drive I've given you guys is in detail. It's got specifications that'll bore you to tears, but I've opened it up. It's got everything and anything in there about it. This is just what model do I buy? Here it is. You know what's better than all that? Call us. Call us. Get right. I know what's going on in a minute. So to see, what you guys might want to look at this model or something. Let me send you one of these. Try out. Whatever. Let us know. Let us help you if you will. But there is a cross guide for you, and then I got a very detailed one. I don't have any time to do features, you guys. Quite frankly, let me just give you a couple of nuggets here because this is the what we learned from our motors and motorcycles. We slanted those cylinders so that we can put the air coming off the flywheel directly in line with as it exits. Because when you have a flat horizontal cylinder, first of all, you raise the profile, okay? This lowered the profile, and when the air comes up and hits this, and then it goes across this way, it goes slower. You lose velocity. July the 5th, it's hot, you got the fan on high, you get more cooling effect efficiency than when the fan's on low. So we don't want to starve the velocity, so we learn that. A. B, we learn that when we slant that. By the way, the cylinder still runs directly vertical. So you don't have any more wear on the bottom or one side or the other, perfect balance. It's still running up and down, it just has some cooling and lowering the handle. When we did that, that profile came lower, so on the limiting saws, that allows us to do this much quicker. Because when we lowered the profile, we took 3 inches of handle off. So when you go to our competitor's limb saw and do this, you just covered 6 inches more travel. Do that all day long. It's productivity, it's fatigue, it's loss of revenue, it's loss of possibly something else as well with injury associated to it. So just a minor thing, but that slide I could talk about probably 140 different things that really we do that makes sense, in my opinion, because you guys came to us limbing and bucking when you largely have a chance to kick back and stuff. So we invented the inertia chain brake, if you will. In other words, that chain brake activates automatically for you if it kicks in a felony position. So forth. On and on it goes. I don't have time. Spend time with me at lunch because that's what I love to do is talk about chainsaw. We'll move on. One thing about us in steel, here's the thing. They want you to lean, and I can't work for them, okay? And they're a great competitor, and that's what we're all about, and it's good. We don't run from that, okay? We have great respect for them. We don't like them very much. They want you to lean down on the saw because the perception is, it'll take it, Austin. She'll take it, man. Yeah, that's good. That's fatigue. We don't want you to lean on the saw. A. B, it's cost because you're driving the chain up on the rails of the bar. You're wearing sprockets. You're wearing chain, $70 on there. That doesn't make much sense to the bottom line. If you will let the saw do the work, it has to do with our motor design. We let chain speed make up for that leaning on the better cost differential. The other thing I'll tell you is that they use, this is the traditional design. This is an inboard clutch. Clutch is on the inside with the sprocket on the outside. This is an outboard clutch. You don't see this design much in the steel chainsaw or other competitors out there. And what that does, first of all, allows you to put the chain on real easily. Take a C-clip, pop it off, you can expose it. But the thing that we don't like is this is in an area of high heat. Transfers from the crankcase to the clutch, heat kills the clutch. It also covers up the main bearing and the seal behind it. We don't get as long a life, if you will. The advantage of this product here, because it does put the chain outside the sprocket, if you will, but it moves this chain about 3/4 of an inch further to the right side. That's what we don't like for a lot of movement. What this is going to do is if you pitch this on a back cut, you can take the motor away, you can rope, rig, cut machinery your way out, whatever your protocol is, all the above, and you don't have a $500, $600, $700 power head going along with the ride. You can take the motor head away. The other design is an outboard clutch. First of all, the clutch is cooler, lasts longer, doesn't cover up the main bearing seal. We like to length the life with that respect, but it does, and it does bring the saw chain closer to the center line, because this was where your sprocket was, your clutch is here, your chain, your sprocket is in here. When you move it closer to the center line, you lower the gyroscopic effect. World's fastest stock chainsaw right here, running 15,000 RPM. When you start turning that a lot and limbing, there's a drastic effect to fatigue. You don't really realize it unless you try. We just run one and run the other. You can see it's like night and day difference. This in outboard versus inboard. But it lowers fatigue, increases productivity, and the fatigue thing is definitely an injury component within that type thing, let alone the better design here. Now, the only bad thing about this, if you pinch the saw in the back cut, you can't get the chain out around. The saw is going for the ride, but that's generally done with smaller diameter trees, smaller displacement saws, not as much of a consideration that we feel, if you will. Okay? XP, that's our moniker for extra performance. Now remember, you have a 500, that's a pro saw, then you have an XP5 pro saw, so you got extra performance, and this is the best thing to show you how it kind of winds it all together. You got a 450, a 545, 550 XP. Semi-pro, pro with XP. 50, 50, 50cc. As I said, they're not exact. It's going to put you in a displacement category. We had an old 550 at one time. We don't have it. It's a 545 now. But as you see, it's basically the same displacement. You can see the horsepower going up. What you might think is insignificantly, when we achieve a tenth of a horsepower, 0.2 to 0.3, that's huge. So there's a drastic horsepower increase. The RPM you can see from 12.5 to 14.2, going way up as you go. Magnesium, and polymer on this semi-pro version. This is what it means, though. What an XP does for you, it's going to run a lot faster. It's going to deliver about 4,500 more cutter teeth per minute, and that's cutting speed. You got a square chisel chain on that saw. That means one tooth opens up the kerf. It's moving through the cut right now, as opposed to the semi-chisel, which is the rounded. It takes 5 to 6 to 7 teeth, depending on parameter. It's fast cutting, and we estimate about 30 minutes of productivity in a day the XP saw will deliver over non-XP. Now look, if you're buying a saw for your home use and it's going to sit in the shed, you're going to clean up in the spring, you're going to cut firewood in the fall, you don't need really this. You need something like this or something like this because it's a little more forgiving. They're made to run every day for your world. 6 hours of slash cutting, high speed rev, that's what they're designed for, if you will. I'm just a hair. No, I'm okay still, yeah. It's worth the price of admission alone. It's the biggest thing I see out in the field with everybody using the new saws these days. You turn off a lot of our competitors that turn it off. You go underneath and you raise up. We don't like that. Emergency, you gotta, emergency, boom, just hit it. It returns to run. So if you turn it off, it doesn't stay in the off position because then the next guy picks it up and starts pulling, you flooded the saw. It's in the off position. I can tell you how to fix that real easily about getting it unplugged. The bottom line, to start the saw, cold and hot are two distinct different things. Chain brake should always be on. I tell people the chain brake should be on. The only time it shouldn't be on is when you're cutting with it. Should be boom, boom, behind you, advance type thing. Okay? So chain brake on, decompression valve. This is a mechanical valve. You press that in. This is an air purge. It's not a primer. You can't flood the saw. You can flood it with a primer. You can't with an air purge. What we're after is typically with a saw, you're going to pull to get the vacuum to bring the fuel up to the carburetor to meter it, and it takes fatigue to do that. So what we've done, this is a pro thing. It's not a consumer thing, and it's not a primer ball. It's different. If you do this when it's cold, 1, 2, 3, and I get fuel into that ball, that's all you're done. I've taken away, for every one of these, it equals about 2 pulls, we estimate, on the cord. So if you do this 1, 2, 3 times, you've taken out 6 of these, which is wear. More importantly, it's fatigue. Your operator now goes into a work procedure with fatigue. There's a correlation of injury. So we want to take all that away. If you leave fuel in it for 6 months and it degrades ethanol issues, we can talk in detail, we don't have time, you can actually pump this about 15 times. And you can pump the fuel, right? You dump the fuel out of the gas tank into your can. and replace it with fresh fuel, but you gotta get the fuel out of the carburetor. So you just press it about 15 times. It takes it out of the car, replaces it with fresh fuel, and we have a very good correlation of getting a start if it is a fuel contaminant or an ethanol issue, space separation, those kind of things. Here's the thing, brake goes on, decompression valve goes in. Now look at, all that does is releases 40% of the starting, okay? Big guy, you're gonna pull it without that or with it, it's gonna start. But this makes the starting experience easier. It doesn't wear the rope and recoil as often. Hit that a couple times so you get fuel in there. Pull this out and up. That's the difference. Our choke goes up, our main competitor goes all the way down, okay? Give it a pull, you'll hear it pop, like it wants to start. That means it's hit top dead center. It's got fuel meter, you're good to go. You just take this down one click. Just take it down one click. You can reset this. You don't have to do anything with that. There's fuel in already. You give it a pull, it's going to start. But it's going to be idling fast. If you listen, that's the third stage of the carburetor. It's no different than steel, going downwards. That lowers it down. It'll go down to idle. Now, because you got the brake on, you're not going to have any chain advancing, so it's a safe situation, if you will. That's how you can go on a cold start. You can read through that, pretty much what I said. Pull the choke out and up, depress the compression valve, air purge, pull until it fires, push the choke down one notch, pull the start, depress the throttle to lower to idle, go to work, okay? Here's the holy grail, hot start. You pull this out and up and back down again. You go past choke to high idle setting. They're so lean, they need a partial choke these days in layman's terms, essentially. Okay, boom, this, you don't need to do that, because if it's warm, you're gonna have fuel in there. Give it a pull. It generally will start first, pull the probe, and then you lower it down and go to work. Now look at the last sentence there. It's in no way to infringe on your professionalism. Do not drop start the saw, because it will negatively impact the choke and starting. I'm all about safety, believe me. I sit on the ANSI committee. Chainsaw guy, you know, it's all about that. I've seen people get very devastatingly injured, and I wear that every day. It's about safety, but I'm more about your experience. So when I tell you guys, don't drop the start the saw, you guys think it's a safety message. Yes, it is, but it's also a experience message. Because watch this, if I got a cold saw, put this on, what do you say, press that in, do this, and I raise this up, okay? And I grab the back handle to drop start it. You took it off of choke, past high idle, down to idle. You'll pull, and you'll pull, and you'll pull, and you'll pull. And eventually it might start, but you're going to be pissed off, and I would be too, okay? Same gig. If you got a warm saw, this goes on, this goes in, raise this up and down one notch, okay? Pull it, you get a start, but if you hit the throttle, hear that click, you just lowered it past high idle down to idle speed. You'll pull and you'll pull and you'll pull. Look at, you know, we estimate 10 times faster, you're breaking the rope. We're still metal pawls into the starter, into the flywheel. Steel went to all plastic, okay? This is an area that we don't want a lot of stress to. We try and still create some, you know, some beat to it, but you gotta be real careful with all that. Again, hot start. Pull the choke out and up and immediately down. Okay? Don't hit the throttle. Pull start, depress throttle to lower idle, take chain brake off, go to work. Telling you that is key. But I've seen everything from guys say from the steel. Okay, so theirs was go down with the choke, so they go down with it and they start pulling. You haven't done anything. You follow? It just at the run position. It's just a little bit of coaching, you guys. Just a little bit of coaching. Auto tune. Okay, I got you a couple minutes. I apologize because time's always hot. I'm very cognizant of your time, but give me just a couple minutes on it. No carburetor. This does it automatically. $30. We've developed this over 25 years. We have it in robotic mower, demolition equipment. We've calibrated it down to a chainsaw because we have found the best thing about taking carburetor adjustments away is you keep people out of the carburetor adjustment. I can teach you how to adjust carburetors very easily done, but typically people just, you know, they just start sticking in there and turn around till you find something that works and you go to work, okay? Not the way it should be done. This does it automatically for you, okay? There are times when you need to readjust or set this maybe. If you go from here to Denver, you're on an emergency work crew and you're going to 4,000 feet altitude, you have to adjust that carburetor manually. You have to adjust this. How you do it is you calibrate. You can read it, it's this easy. Start the saw, run it full speed. Run it under load for 3 to 5 minutes. And if there's an issue with the adjustment or the calibration, because what it's doing for 3 to 5 minutes, it's sensing the temperature, the humidity, the fuel you got in it, how much ethanol, what's going on, is it changing, all these things, and it sets it back the way it is, and it's pretty miraculous when it is something like that, if you will, where you're changing. Look, you can't cut cookies. If you got the thing full speed and you just start cutting cookies off the end of the log, it's going to go load, no load, load, no load, you follow me? And when it goes to no load, when it's not cutting that cookie, when you're raising it up, it wants to start over again. So you never set the calibration. So you need to run it for 3 to 5 minutes. I just start with the bottom corner. I've done it with like a foot, 2 feet of wood even. Log on the ground, boom, bottom corner, and you can just kind of go down as long as you can and raise up. You just want a little bit of pressure on it. And I just keep kind of doing this for 3 to 5 minutes, and it will straighten out if it is something related to the auto tune. What did we lose? Oh, okay. Technical difficulties. Yeah, we're just finishing up, but I don't know what happened.
It was going to get somebody to.
Yeah, well, we're done with these guys here because I can finish off, because all this is on here. It's all on the sheet as well. Warranty, 6 months. Use the date that's determined by you and your records. We can take you at your word on that. Now look at, you know what? This auto tune is diagnostic. You can hook it up, we can tell who owns it. We can tell how many hours, minutes we're on, what type of fuel you're using, what the compression is. We can tell, it's just like auto, like diagnostic. Plug it in to a computer that has that software, very inexpensive, and so it can be diagnosed by your dealer very, very quickly, if you will. We can tell when the first time it was put into service. So we just ask you to be honest about it. If you put it into service in July, and that was 6 months ago, don't say it was yesterday, and if it is a dispute, let us know. And I'll fight for you to get that, if it is. Look, I don't feel that, I don't feel that right, let me go fight that battle for you. I'll be back to you. But we're trying to just take you at your word, if you want that. Technical support. On that sheet, I don't have it up here, but I have a slide, don't have it on. You dial that 704 number, pressing your dealer account number. What we'd like you to do, GFs, superintendents, you guys only, because we don't want people coming around you, because then you don't know what's going on in your world. But call that number before you do anything. Call that number. Let us tell you where the dealer is, or to help coach you, or whatever, or we'll make a call in advance to help grease the skid for you going in there. Listen, that dealer didn't sell you the saw. I got that. But if you get any flack from that dealer, and I love our dealers, you call us. If you get any flack from that dealer about you didn't buy the saw from me and we're 6 months behind our certain, you call us. That's all I need to say, okay? Just do that. Let us work for you. I would make that call before you even go, as you're on the way, or if you're out in the middle of West BFE somewhere, where's the dealer? Call us, and we'll do it for you. But you also have a dealer locator number, and you go to www.husqvarna.com. It's on here. Press in the zip code. We did it earlier. We did it for Louisville, Ohio. I just picked it out of the air, and it came out a very good 4-star dealer, Metzger's, up in that area, which is somewhere up by Canton, I guess. And you can find those out yourself, or call us, and we'll search them for you, if you will. You get brochure at www.husqvarna.com as well, all kinds of information. The best information, the best resource I can tell you is right in front of you. Call us. Let us help you. Now weed through it like right now, okay, for you guys to help you out. And you have our contact, both of the gentlemen we report to in Austin and mine, information. His function is more sales, Eastern U.S. sales. My function is more on the tech side, product training. I'm a certified trainer, do all this stuff, whatever, but make the call. I don't care who you call, just make the call. We're really past. Are there any questions, or I'd ask, I'm going to mingle at lunch, maybe we'll hit those at lunch, because it's real important for me to say this, at least to say thank you again, almost in the way I started. And it's the most important thing that's ever happened to our company and our brand in the 23 years I've been with Husqvarna. It's the most important thing that's happened in the history of our company. I really feel that. And thank you. We know you have a choice. We know it's tough. Let us help you with that transition.